Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Non Sequitur Nerds. Tonight, put down your controllers and listen, because we're going to be talking gaming, which is no surprise to anybody that has listened to this show. But, as always, I'm Tim, joined by my buddy Ian. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, things are going really well. We've been away for a little while. We
Yeah.
apologize for that. Life has kind of, I don't want to say gotten in the way, but, we've had some things happen and so on and so forth. I was on vacation, started a new job.
Yep.
So, we're kind of moving, we've got life. And we're parents, we're adults, I think.
Most days.
So,
on paper.
On paper. According to my birth certificate, I'm an adult. So been a little bit busy, but we've been trying to kind of catch up in the gaming world and catch up on a lot of news and happenings and so on and so forth lately. So we're going to go ahead and kind of jump right into it. Things have been kind of going on in the I want to say former console wars. I don't think it's a war so much. Yeah, the old war.
In the before
back
times.
in my day, right? But things have been kind of going on with the consoles and stuff like that, and they've been releasing some new figures lately. Microsoft has come out and said that for every Xbox they sell, they lose about $200. So they sell every console at a loss.
Well, I mean that's typical, though. I mean that's usually, at least the last several generations. That's how it always has been. They don't make their money on the hardware. They make the money on the software that you buy, the accessories that you buy. And we're getting ahead of ourselves. The subscriptions that you opt into. That's where they make their money. The console's just kind of the entry point. Oh, Ian broke everything.
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Good.
Yeah.
My microphone just decided randomly, like, I'm going to stop working, so I had to unplug it and plug it back in.
There you go.
As you do for most tech problems.
Yep. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah, pretty much. Hello, IT department. Have you turned it off and on again?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So.
Well, his mic just did it again, so I'll go ahead and say that it's been interesting. I mean, Ian and I were actually talking a little bit before the show that back in the days when it was Nintendo and Sega, like the console wars were very much a real and thriving thing. All of their advertisements, particularly on the Sega side, was always talking about how, they're better than Nintendo. They're better than Nintendo. Nowadays, it's a lot less of that and more of, well, here's what services we offer on our console or our platform. Here's what exclusive games we have. It's a lot less trash talking the competition and more building up your own image.
Yeah, but how did that really
there you are.
work? Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
How did that really work out, though, for Sega? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The last console they had was the Dreamcast, and unfortunately, I know as much as you love that console, it didn't perform well at all.
Yeah,
like it just didn't perform to the way they wanted to. Now, we talk about the console wars as like Sony versus Microsoft, and in reality, that's really kind of what it is. Nintendo has really carved out their own little niche, and they, I have a Switch.
Yeah.
All three of my kids have a Switch.
Same over here.
They kind of have this inclusive environment there. Their IP is their IP, and they're not going outside of their boundaries. So you're never going to find a Mario game and a Metroid game outside of there. And people really love their ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely.
And their IPs. So they're going to continue to kind of be their own thing. But now that said, Microsoft very much leveraged things like strategic partnerships with Nintendo several years ago. If you remember when they opened up Xbox Live or the Xbox Network, that you could do cross-platform play with other consoles, and they basically said, "Yeah, we're opening this up for anyone to use. It's just up to the developers and the other providers to code to it."
Right.
You can do it. We're gonna play ball. Nintendo jumped on board and they advertised Minecraft.
Yeah, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah,
it's Minecraft.
Right. And initially Sony was like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. It's a gimmick." But then I think they started to lose face and lose traction a little bit, and so then the developers, were starting to like, "I don't want this."
Right.
Like we want to be able to do this, and one of the more famous ones that does this is Bungie. Destiny, you can do crossplay on all of their platforms, PC, Xbox, Sony, PlayStation. You can do cross-buy on any of those.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's something more that, like, I get from a business standpoint why Sony might have been hesitant to that, because they have their own thing, they have the PlayStation Network, and they wanted to show strength in their own product. But at the same time, like, I'm a Sony guy. There's no, I've made no secret of this. But admittedly, Xbox, they've got the power of Microsoft behind them. They know how to do computing. Their online network's better. It's more stable. It's more open.
Well, we kind of talked about this before when when we spoke about cloud gaming. But I
Right.
mean, it's Microsoft's own ecosystem. They
Yeah.
own the data centers. They own the servers. Like it's their stuff. PlayStation doesn't have that. They're relying on third party servers. Now they may
Right.
have servers, but they're not on a cloud ecosystem that is as large as what Microsoft is.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they're really kind of fighting a battle there, and especially when you have things like cloud gaming. It's we talked about this before, but native cloud gaming in Xbox and in the PC world, we're very soon going to see a quick departure of, it's made. I shouldn't say quick departure. It's made gaming more accessible to those people that are on budget systems. They can't, the newest and latest and greatest hardware. Maybe they can't afford a console. Well,
Right.
we talked about that before as well. I mean, Microsoft is partnering with Samsung to bring xCloud to Samsung TVs.
Yeah, I mean,
Just you plug in a controller to the TV and you can play Xbox games on it. So it's very obvious that Microsoft is moving away from consoles. So I think we touched on this before the show. They've conceded the console. They're going to still make them.
Yeah.
They're still going to make them, for the people that want them. Which that reminds me, Phil Spencer, CEO of Xbox, did say that the prices of the Xboxes, the Xbox Ones or One S's or whatever they're called now, are going to go up after the holiday season. So if you want one for a current lower price, you should get one this holiday season. We'll probably see some Black Friday sales soon.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, it's about that time of year.
Right. In point of fact, I got a notification from Amazon going, "Hey, we have pre-Black Friday deals today."
Yep, as did I.
But yeah, so if you want an Xbox console, now's probably the time to buy. I'm not trying to shill for Microsoft. If you want to pay me, no. But I'm just trying to be informative here.
Yeah.
Providing, welcome to Non Sequitur News Network.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the PlayStation, I believe in Japan, the PS5 went up in price, didn't it?
Possibly. I don't remember.
It's been a little while, but I remember hearing something about that. To my knowledge, it hasn't changed price here in the States.
Right.
One thing that has changed, though, and this is kind of an offshoot, this is kind of a general gaming episode. Did you see, Ian, that, for PS5, the new God of War is coming out soon?
It is out, I think.
Wait, I think it's yeah, I can't remember if it was going to be out soon or out now, but anyway, there were a lot of people that got their copy early, not from any kind of shady means, but because they had ordered the God of War bundle PS5, and either they had ordered that and it actually got shipped early, or they had ordered a completely different bundle and got sent that by mistake. So there were actual valid copies out in the wild. So I mean, there were it wasn't super long before the actual release, but there were people who were already playing it, and like the review embargo hadn't even been lifted yet. So it was a quick scramble to, oh crap, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I've been trying to avoid it because I'm interested in playing this new one.
You should probably play did you play the last one?
I did, yep. You know me, I like my Norse stuff, so of course I played it.
Right. I think I actually, before they revamped the PlayStation Network, I think I got a free copy of it, PlayStation Plus or whatever. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I have such a huge backlog of games right now that it's so hard.
Oh, and what game are you playing recently, Ian? What is that? Remind me again. The other? No, you haven't been playing that one.
Incorrect. I was playing that one this morning.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I've been picking that up again as well.
He's been playing Cyberpunk. All right,
Yes, I did pick up a copy of Cyberpunk. I thought I mentioned this last time. Maybe not.
It's been a while. I don't know. I just wanted to give you grief for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll concede that the game itself is quite enjoyable. It was just in when it originated, and I never said that like I just never would play the game, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't play it in the state that it was when it
yeah,
shipped.
yeah,
And they've finally been able to get out and do a lot of massive overhauls and patching, and there's still some bugs. I definitely have found some bugs, but it's kind of hard with an open world game of that size. If
yeah.
anybody's ever played a Bethesda game,
Oh
you
god,
know what I'm talking about.
exactly.
Um,
Bethesda is
but
synonymous with bugs,
Right, and
but they're
in
still good
the
games.
scale of those games, it's difficult to fix all of them. But
Yeah.
I have been playing Cyberpunk. I've been enjoying it. I was actually playing it before we got on here to record today's episode. But uh, kind of sequiring back to the whole console war type thing. Sony's financials just came out, and they've said that they've shipped 25 million PlayStation 5s.
That's not bad.
However, their Q2 2022 results show that their revenues are down 49%.
Well, I know, and you and I had kind of
So,
talked about this. Uh, we were talking about the relaunch of PlayStation Plus. They've lost 2 million subscribers since they revamped that, and I mean, I imagine that is no small part of their revenue being down, losing 2 million paying customers.
yeah, well, I think part of the problem though is just that they did the revamp and they introduced this tier system that they had, and which is generally okay, I guess. But
Yeah.
when it first launched, like there was really big disparity between the tiers. It was like crap tier, slightly better than crap tier, and then oh my god, you get everything, but you're paying for it tier.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like, I will agree on that one. That they should have done a better job of staggering the tiers because like most of the stuff that like from people that I talked to or read online, most of the stuff that everybody wanted was on that high tier. So okay, on one hand, from a business perspective, you're putting the stuff people want in one package. But on the other side, when you look at the cost of it, people might not be as willing to fork out that that significant price increase to get all that stuff. Like, admittedly, I've got the highest tier because I had a valid PlayStation Plus subscription, and they did the well. Hey, if you upgrade, you just pay the difference. So it wasn't
Right.
expensive at all for me to switch over to that. And I spent a lot of time browsing through there, particularly like the older games, like the PS2 era games, things like that. Mainly PS2 era. There were so many good games in the PS. But
Right.
so I downloaded a bunch of them, played a few here and there, and like admittedly, I haven't even browsed it lately to see what's even on there. But I mean, like it's one of those things. It's neat, and like it's kind of like a few years ago. You remember when Nintendo and then everybody else started releasing those like mini retro consoles, and everybody wanted one. Tons of people got them. Resellers were going crazy on them, and now like a bunch of people have them and they're just sitting there collecting dust. Because
Mine,
the
mine is.
yeah, same here. I've got the NES Mini, I've got the SNES Mini, the Genesis Mini, the PS1 Mini.
Isn't Sega doing another Genesis Mini?
They they are,
Didn't I
and
see that?
yeah, it either just came out or is coming out soon, but it didn't really have a whole lot of fanfare behind it. But it's the same thing. Like the retro novelty of those things is great, but unless that's all you play, that novelty wears off kind of quickly. And I think that that's a lot of what the new PlayStation Plus had going for it. Is
Right.
there were people that were already paid subscribers like myself, so they just paid the difference to upgrade, or they were people that saw those retro games, went, "Oh my god, I want to get those," so they paid. But that novelty's kind of wearing off. The people that upgraded their subscriptions don't really use that stuff, so they're either downgrading or just flat out canceling. The people that were the retro enthusiasts got what they wanted and don't really see the need to continue to pay for anything else. So I mean, it's this is all just speculation, obviously, but it's I don't know. They need to do something because it's with 2 million people being lost, and it's only been hasn't even been a full year since you
Right.
know.
And if you look at the numbers, as of January of 2022, Xbox Game Pass has about 25 million subscribers. So I realize we're coming up on the end of 2022.
Yeah.
So that number's a little outdated, so I apologize. Um, Now, if you look at PlayStation Plus subscriber count, they're at about 45 million, so a little less than double
Right.
of what the Xbox Game Pass penetration is. However, we've continuously seen Game Pass growing year over year, month over month. I mean, if we look at you know the same time, January of 2021, they had 18 million subscribers, so they added about 7 million subscribers within a year's time.
That's not a
Um,
bad chunk of people.
right. And I think this was also, kind of before they started doing more of the combined Game Pass Ultimate type things. And, if you think about it, the Game Pass Ultimate is $15 a month and
Yeah.
you get PC and Xbox
Mhm.
and their, their xCloud
Yeah.
service. So, it's really affordable to be able to go through and play a bunch of different games.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
And I think that's part of the draw for something like this is because you can't do that. PlayStation is PlayStation. You can only really utilize the service on a PlayStation.
Right. Well, I
Your
mean,
only other
they do have a PC app, but like I tried it out because I'm like, oh, this will be kind of cool. It does not work the greatest, I'll be honest, Sony. My experience was less than ideal on it. But running it on my PS5, it works exactly how I would expect it to. So effectively, from my experience, yeah, it's you need to have a PlayStation to do the PlayStation thing, and it's only PlayStation stuff. Xbox, I mean, obviously you've got their first party titles, but then you've got a lot of other games that are multi-platform releases is also available on Game Pass. Sony, you're locked to stuff that was only on Sony, not necessarily first party studios, but games that were exclusive. There may be a few, especially with the older titles, there may be a few exceptions, obviously, but primarily it's their stuff that was on PlayStation platform.
right. And if you look at, Sony does not have a history of playing nice with their first party titles in cross platform, multi platform type
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, if you look, I think only one of the only ones that I know about is um, maybe the MLB series, which I think they just recently announced that they were going to start shipping titles again for Xbox.
Okay.
And oh, Zero Dawn or whatever it is,
Yeah.
the Horizon series. That I think just this past year finally got a PC port, like just
Right.
for the original, the first
Yeah.
Horizon, and it kind of shocked people, kind of out of nowhere. And then they were kind of tweeting about it, and the developers tweeted about it, and they're like, "Yeah, why wouldn't we do?
Right.
Like, we like money. We want and we want our game to be more accessible elsewhere."
Right.
But pretty much all other first party titles on PlayStation are not really cross platform
Right. Well, I say
available.
the last God of War's on PC now, isn't it? As well as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think they finally went. I think they finally released those. If my guess is they're going to be on Steam, they're probably not going to want it on the Epic Store nor on the Xbox on the
Right.
Xbox Store. But and interestingly enough,
Yeah, let's see. God of War is on Steam.
yep. And I think I saw a news headline earlier, actually, that
Steam as
um,
well for Spider-Man.
yes, I think I saw earlier that there's a whole ongoing Activision Blizzard, which is kind of stalled a little bit. It's in regulatory review in
Yeah.
multiple different countries. I think Brazil has signed off on it.
Okay.
Maybe the Saudi states. I can't remember which one has to sign off on it. But it's kind of stuck right now in the UK. They've actually just
Yeah.
recently announced they want to do another round of reviews. So it's taking a little bit longer than I think anybody had hoped for. But
Yeah.
Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft, has said, has made a couple of different announcements. One, that they have no plans of making Call of Duty console exclusive. They said it will remain a cross platform game, which is good because again, I think Microsoft likes money,
Yeah.
so they're going to continue doing that. But then, kind of more exciting news, at least to me, is that Phil Spencer said that, and the quote is something like, he considers StarCraft to be a seminal series and is very eager to sit down with the StarCraft team.
Which is
So
awesome.
which is very awesome to me
Yeah,
because, as we've discussed before, Phil Spencer's a gamer. Like he
yeah,
loves games, and he's been very much a proponent of gamers themselves. And StarCraft has been kind of a forgotten, if not maybe mildly abused title.
yeah. Well, I mean,
The last
especially
it really
like,
came out for was the StarCraft remaster
yeah,
several years ago, and it's been kind of one of those IPs that is unfortunately just not gotten a whole lot of love. Now then
yeah,
again, Activision Blizzard has been kind of in some hot water lately,
yeah. They
so
haven't been showing much love to anything lately.
especially their employees.
Yeah. Hey.
um, so I'm kind of hopeful that this whole acquisition is gonna close quicker, sooner rather than later, and then you know we're gonna hopefully see much love thrown towards the direction of Blizzard titles.
Right.
You know, Overwatch 2 has been really kind of
Meh.
panned as not good.
Yeah.
Um, very much hit by the unfortunately hit by the whole microtransaction thing.
Yeah.
They're really riding that microtransaction stuff, which doesn't surprise at all,
I
given
mean,
Bobby Kotick's history.
yeah.
Uh, and then, World of Warcraft, the last expansion was very meh. No one's really all that excited about it. It had a really weird storytelling elements. I've kind of followed along with some of the story stuff,
Mhm.
and it's just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like it was
Right.
just blank. It was a boring story.
Well,
They're
like
really
I keep seeing ads for the new expansion for it, Dragon Flight or whatever the heck it's
yeah.
called, and like I keep looking at that, going, nothing in this trailer makes me want to play. Like, I'm not even interested in looking up more information about it. It's just nothing about it makes me interested. Um, I mean, and I'm an MMO player, so I'm kind of their target audience, and nothing about it makes me want to look at it. So it just kind of goes to show, like Ian was saying, just how kind of pushed to the wayside these Blizzard specific titles are. I mean, even Diablo Immortal, like that came out and that one rode the microtransaction train hard. Um, so I'm hoping that the next Diablo that they return to their roots on that one, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of lamented about this before as well. I think that's really where Blizzard started going downhill, is where when Activision started to really get involved in
Yeah,
their like, it was kind of like each person was, each entity was kind of they were a company, but they were kind of still separate. Blizzard was kind of allowed to do their own thing, and they came out with some great games. I mean, Heroes of the Storm was a lot of fun. I loved that game as a MOBA.
right.
The original Overwatch was really fun. I mean, hell, Hearthstone. I didn't play it, but
It's fun. It's fun, honestly. I will occasionally pick up Hearthstone. That's fun.
mm-hmm. But then then I think Blizzard or Activision really started to get their fangs into Blizzard, and you saw people leaving the company. Mike
Yeah.
Morhaime, one of the original founders, Chris Metzen, one of the I think he was the chief story officer of Blizzard. So he was very much involved in the writing of these games, and it was right at the time that you saw them departing that things really kind of took a turn for the worse as far as like the content.
Right.
The story just got they really started switching more to the microtransactions. They just didn't. It was more about quantity over quality, which was pretty much a 180 from the way Blizzard always was.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
Blizzard only ever put out a game every few years
yeah.
in the past, and they was very much focused on the quality of the game. Now it's just like so.
Oh, you kind of cut out there for a second, but no, I
Oh,
I, I
sorry.
agree. I mean, it used to be an event when Blizzard would put out a new game, or hell, even a new expansion for some of. That was a multi-year thing, so it was something to look forward to because you knew they put time into it. And now it's like, I mean, you can't walk through Activision headquarters without tripping over something from Blizzard.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm really hopeful that acquisition um, is going to go somewhere. I personally think it's the only way that Activision and especially Blizzard will be able to get out of the funk that they're in and
Yeah.
out of the trouble that they're in. Because let's admit, like that entire organization needs a complete overhaul of its culture and its
It just needs a complete
everything.
overhaul from the ground up.
Yeah, and we've said it before. Bobby Kotick made money. significantly increased the revenues of Activision after he took over. But he's a businessman, so that's all that
Exactly.
he cared about was the business side of things, and he really kind of neglected the gamer aspect.
Yeah.
It was,
And I
you
mean,
know,
we've said it before on this subject. It's you're making a product for a specific gamers. If you're more
mhm,
focused on will this, I mean, as from a business standpoint, yes, you have to make money to stay open. I get that. I am not business illiterate, but you have to think about this thing that we're making. Is it going to churn out money, and is it going to get enough people that are interested in purchasing it to continue to make? You don't make
yeah,
something with the intent of, all right, well, it's Call of Duty, throw it out there, we'll sell it. Not every game. I mean, let's be honest, Call of Duty, they literally could put out whatever the hell they wanted, and it will still sell millions and millions. Not every game is Call of Duty. If you put
right,
out a subpar product and you put the Warcraft logo on it, or you put the Starcraft logo, or you put the Diablo logo on it, people expect a certain experience out of that.
right.
And when you're not doing that, you're killing it, in a bad way.
Right. And admittedly, like when you get to the level, like the longevity of World of Warcraft and even Diablo, I mean, Diablo 4 is going to be coming out soon enough or relatively soon enough. I think I just saw they released about it.
I need to
Uh,
look at it myself.
but, those are very long lived IPs. And when you introduce something that has a supreme level of quality associated to it and then you just start crapping all over it, you're really alienating the people that made those IPs successful. It's very hard to draw new gamers into an old IP.
Yeah.
It's not something that's easy to do. So you have to be you have to be innovative and you have to have a level of quality that's associated to
Yes.
it because what you're doing is you're putting out something that the your your original audience is familiar of and they're going to purchase and then they're going to spread word of mouth
Yep.
and draw people in. It's a there's something that we used to talk about in the restaurant industry that um, uh, word of mouth is a very powerful tool.
Yes.
For every one person that has a bad experience at your restaurant, they are going to tell 10 people, and you have now potentially lost 11 customers who then will potentially also tell other people. So it's a very viral effect when you have a poor quality of service.
Yes.
So, and you mentioned Call of Duty, even people that are associated with Call of Duty anymore are kind of getting they're starting to get fatigued by subpar games. The
Yeah.
last few Call of Duties have been from what I understand.
Yeah.
I don't play them. I haven't
Same.
owned a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 2.
The
And I think
original, not the new Modern Warfare 2 or the
yes,
re-release,
the
because
one on
it gets so
yes, the one
confusing.
right. And I think I even bought that one like 2 years after it originally came out because I got it
As
for it was like, oh, this is in the bargain bin, might as well. Um,
right.
but again, they're starting to get that fatigue because it's the same thing year after year, and it's been kind of not good the last few years. So they're going, why should I spend $60-$70 on the same game that
Yeah.
is also becoming crappy? So you have to really kind of think about who it is that your target audience is, and it's not. It is a numbers game, but it's not just
It's not just about
quantity.
the numbers.
It's not just the quantity.
Yep.
It's the quality. So, and I think that's where Activision Blizzard has kind of forgotten about
Yeah,
things.
they're churning out a bunch of stuff, but they're doing it so quickly and so poorly that now. And I'm not saying this is a fault of the developers. I'm not saying this is a fault of anybody that actually made the product. I
Yeah.
think it's a matter of the leadership coming down onto them. So I imagine there's a lot of good people that work at that company. There's people that are passionate about making games, and I'm sure there's somebody in the art department who's really excited about the texture he made for some character's eyeball. But when they're being told put it out, do it this way, they're not gonna they're gonna do what they have to do to keep their job.
It's unfortunate, but
Yeah, it is.
apparently true. But anyway, well, should probably wrap things up.
All right.
We don't want to leave you on a dour note, but
Right.
understand that there is some exciting things coming in the world of gaming. We have new games coming out. Obviously, God of War Ragnarok. There's the developments that are continuing going on the whole Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft. which is a very exciting thing.
Oh yeah.
And even Sony has some stuff in the works. One quick headline for you that's kind of unrelated, but I think I saw in my Reddit feed earlier that Ubisoft games may be going back to Steam. So there's something exciting for you as far as the world of gaming goes. So there's lots of stuff that's going on out there. You just kind of have to, which rocks to turn over in order to find, some of the good. So
There we go.
Anyway,
It's not all doom and gloom, we promise.
Yes, we promise. So yeah, I think with that we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Sounds good.
Today. Thank you again for joining us. We apologize again for kind of the hiatus after the hiatus. But we're back.
We're back. Immediately leaves.
Yeah. Bad, poor timing.
Yeah, I think we made the mistake of coming back right before you were going on vacation, so we probably should have thought that one through a little better.
Yeah. Oopsies.
Yeah. Oh well.
Anyway,
we're here. We're here.
We're back. We look forward to working with you and seeing you all again. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. So, as always, you can catch us on social media. Facebook.com/nonsequiturnerds. Twitter @nonsequiturnerd. Although, given Twitter's state of things, I don't know how long we're going to be on there.
Yeah. Well, something we're going to talk about.
We'll cover that another day. And then twitch.tv/nonsequiturnerds. Sorry, I've kind of lost my usual flow here. It's been so long. I gotta rehearse it. And then obviously you can catch the podcast Anchor.fm, powered by Spotify, and youtube.com/nonsequiturnerds. So as always, we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you again. For the Non Sequitur Nerds, I'm Ian.
And I'm Tim. Night, everybody.